about her career path and her role and her own struggles as the networks faced in an internal investigation. That's all been covered on show after show. I really thought the most interesting part was where she revealed she's been a victim of bullying by a presidential candidate, but first as a child.
I had some bullying when I was in elementary school. And what really happened was I moved, and my seventh grade was really a full year of bullying. And it was brutal. I mean, it was a form of torture, where I belonged to a group of girls, and then one day, for no apparent reason, the group turned. And I had no friends. I mean, I had no friends. I had nobody to talk to. They would shoot spitballs at me. They would try to trip me. They would make fun of me. They would mock my weight, and they would mock my skin, which was not good at the time. And I would go home and I would just cry at night. I was so alone, and I felt so unlikable. And, you know, it was 1982, 1983, so it was like, this was not the age of helicopter parenting, where the parents would have been all up in there and the guidance counselor would have been, I mean, I went to the guidance counselor and nothing happened. And it wasn't until the end of the year when a beautiful angel named Heather Shepard, Kelly was my good friend, she was my lifelong best friend, but Heather Shepard threw me a line and sat with me, and my mom always said, all you need is one. And she was right, but I'll tell you, Shepard, that to this day, that bullying, it affects my coverage as a news person. It affects how I see stories. You know, it affects how I approach stories and even what stories we decide to put in the show every night.
And then Donald Trump bullied you.
Well, I had some familiar. When it started happening with Trump, I was like, this is familiar. Okay, I've been through this before. And so, you know, it's always good to find a silver lining, but I would say that that was one. I had already experienced a year of bullying, and there was something to fall back on.
Then when Trump did it, you knew what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I always take a little issue with the notion that he bullied me, because I think the technical definition of bullying is somebody tries to strong-arm you into compliance and then you comply. And so I feel like it was an attempted bullying.
Attempted bullying?
Yeah, because he never got me to comply, right?
The definition that I have from is a person who uses strength or power to harm or intimidate those who are weaker. He certainly tried to bully.
There you go. So that's my point. So I was not intimidated. Listen, I was scared at times for my safety, and there were some tearful nights, but I never changed my coverage because of his threats or his attention. And that was a real test of me and my team here at Fox News, all of whom stood shoulder to shoulder, and we just had this motto. It comes from the movie Braveheart. You know the movie Braveheart, where they're holding those sticks, and the horses are coming, the cavalry's coming, and Braveheart just keeps saying, hold, hold. And that's what my team and I were saying as all the attacks were coming in, and demands for a boycott, and demands that I be fired, and demands that I be removed from the debate team. It was hold.
Why did he do that?
We knew we could get through it.
Why did he do it?
You're going to have to take that up with Dr. Phil. I don't know. I don't really understand. All I know is he told me he was genuinely angry. He was angry all those months about, in particular, that debate question, and he didn't like what he was seeing on my show night after night. He thought it was unfair to him.
And then you had the Trump Tower discussion, which I know was sort of off the record, so you can't talk about the details of it. But when it was over, how did you feel?
Relieved. You know, I write in the book, Settle for More, that it felt like being a hostage, being seen by her hostage taker for the first time, and being hopeful that he would finally let her go. You know, it was just, I didn't ask him to stop the bullying. I didn't apologize to him, which is what he had been demanding, nor did he apologize to me. But we had such a pleasant exchange, I felt certain he would stop. And he did.
Surviving the bullying is something that you've clearly done. It's something that clearly was a theme within this book. And you said regarding bullying in this book on 38, you said, to this day, I can handle people who are dumb, lazy, or generally annoying. The one thing I cannot and will not tolerate is a bully. Mm-hmm. Will you be able to tolerate Donald Trump, the bully, as president?
Well, I feel
as a woman?
I feel like I now have more experience in dealing with Donald Trump and his attacks on the media than pretty much anybody. So I have a lot of practice in dealing with him when he comes after the media. With respect to me, as I say, I think we're good. But he goes after journalists in a way I don't think we've seen any modern American president do. You know, we had a young embed who was 20 who said to me, I'm afraid they were throwing tomatoes the other day. And she said, what should I do if they throw tomatoes at me? And I said, stand tall. Stand tall.
Tolerate the bullying.
If it's like a shoe, duck. But, you know, if it's a tomato, I think you make a point because you're standing tall for all of us. And there were points this past year where that's how we felt on the Kelly file, that it didn't matter how much incoming he tried to throw our way or some of his most ardent supporters did. We were going to do good journalism come hell or high water. And both came at various points of the year, but we emerged fine. You know, our ratings are fine. They're very strong, in fact. And I think honest people understood that he's an interesting kind of candidate who is running a different kind of race, including coming after the media.
Settle for More by Megyn Kelly. It's about a middle-class girl who grew up to be a powerful and famous newscaster and everything in between, a small-town girl who, as she puts it,